Good evening and thank you very much for coming. Do feel free to move into the room. So I'd like to thank you very much for coming this evening to celebrate with us 10 years since we were bought by Daiwa. And to tell you more about that and to introduce the evening, I'd like to introduce you to my very good friend, Yuichi Akai, Global Head of Investment Banking at Daiwa.
I'm head of the Global Investment Bank and a member of the Board of Directors of Daiwa Securities, DC Advisory parent company. On behalf of DC Advisory and Daiwa Securities, I would express our sincere gratitude for your kind support extended to us over the 10 years. And truly it is my great pleasure today to have such distinguished guests joining our DC Advisory Decade celebrations. 大和証券の赤井でございます。今日は来ていただけるどうもありがとうございます。本当に10周年ということでですね、非常に感慨深いものがあります。あと英語で言います。And DC Advisory Europe now comprises office in France, Germany, Poland, Spain, and the UK, with continuous plan for the growth in the near future. And more recently, we have launched our US and Indian businesses, and we are currently rebranding our Asian capability to sit under one global M&A business brand, DC Advisory. It is an exciting time internationally, and made possible by the continuous work to providing right advice to right clients. And by way of background, Daiwa was established 1902, 170 years ago. Remarkable year for Japan because we formed an alliance with UK to fight with Russia. And we went on to continue open our London office in 1964. Another remarkable year because Beatles came to Japan. And since then, we have become the leading finance group in Japan with market capitalization around £6 billion. And we have very strong investment banking, the retail brokerage businesses. For example, you find the Daiwa in the top of the league table of Japanese equity capital markets, which demonstrates our strong relationship with Japanese public companies. Almost all Japanese public companies cover our bankers. And it is our global M&A business. And however, focusing on the mid-cap market, which has become the jewelry and crown. In the past 12 months alone, we have successfully advised on more than 110 transactions. And to date, we have successfully advised on over 17 deals between Europe and Asia. And we believe that will continue. And with huge potential for growth and excellent track records, we have pledged our solid commitment to DC advisory growth in UK, Europe, and globally. We have come a long way since acquiring the DC business from Cross Brothers in 2009. And as our Japanese corporate clients sought more and more cross-border opportunities, we are looking for partners in Europe and the US to create a seamless cross-border team of experts. You may recall the 2009, what was happening those times. It was Lehman shock. And at that time, Nomura acquired Lehman in Europe and Asia. Daiwa acquired Yuichi Advisory. So, as we continue toward our goal of becoming the leading the mid-cap market investment banking on global basis, and we are delighted to pledge our commitment to the business and to you, DC's client. I'm very confident our team in the UK and internationally both have the capability and the determination to bring the right advice to you anywhere in every situation. And we will continue to do so many more decades. Thank you very much again for your continued support.
So I'm very glad I'm not giving this speech in Japanese. That was wonderful, thank you. So there's a couple of things that people have thought as they looked at me this evening. And the first is easy. What is this pin? And so this pin represents something. It represents our commitment, our parent company's commitment, and our commitment to supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And that's the question that people have felt relaxed about asking. The question they've been less relaxed about asking is, Richard, why are you wearing such a very blue suit? They assume, or certainly those of you who know me assume, that it's an entirely characteristic act of attention seeking. But it's a little bit more than that, because this suit too represents something. Because this suit represents the power of Japanese investment into a classic British brand. Because this is a Paul Smith suit. And up until about 2006, Paul Smith was a small brand. A brand known about as far as the M25, unless you were a mod, in which case everybody in the world knew about it. But it was a very small brand that had a set of core values, however, about quality, about innovation based on classic British values. So really strong values. And in 2006, Itochu, a Japanese corporation, invested into Paul Smith and did something extraordinary. It allowed Paul Smith to continue to be Paul Smith, to continue to make decisions about its values, its identity, and its way forward. But it absolutely turbocharged the brand. So from those 6 stores within the M25, there are now over 200 stores around the world, and it's a £1 billion revenue business. We're not that yet, but we'll give it a shot. Because what they did was supported investment in scale and investment in international to enable Paul Smith to be a better version of itself. Which brings me on to us and to our parent, Daiwa. And I use the word parent advisedly because if you think about what it is that you want for your children, and I am qualified to talk about this, you want them to be themselves. You want them to set the direction for their own lives. But you want also to give them the support, all the support that you can, through thick and thin, through rough and smooth. And as a parent, that is precisely what Daiwa has done for us. They've allowed us to set the direction. So in 10 years, there has been one decision that we have made where Daiwa said, "Ooh, I'm not sure about that." And they were right. So thank you very much. But they've also allowed us to set the direction, but also given us the support. And going back to when it was, I mean, this is 2009, 10, 11, we barely had £1 of revenue. And yet at that time, Daiwa put money into our business to build the infrastructure team, to build the sponsor coverage team, to build the sector team. An extraordinary story of commitment in a really, really, really difficult market, as we would hope to do for our children as we watch them make decisions. So they gave us that support. And the support then went on. And it went on so that we have in Asia, Japan, but Daiwa's also invested into China and the rest of Southeast Asia and into India, so that our capabilities are hugely enhanced by their investment. And even more so as it's come back into Europe, where we've invested in Spain, where we in the autumn will be opening in Italy. And fantastically, where 2 years ago we bought 2 businesses in North America. So the story of Paul Smith, and the suit is to remind you of this story, the story is the same as ours. That we are, as a consequence of who our parent is, a better version of ourselves. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And it means that we are able, as a better version of ourselves, to provide you, our clients, with better advice, the right advice in more situations and more internationally. And I, for one, am delighted. So I'm looking forward to moving from being just a better version of ourselves to being ultimately the best version of ourselves that we can be. And so I'm going to raise a toast, a double toast. And the first one is very British. Cheers. Cheers. And the second one is very Japanese. Kanpai. Kanpai. And so now that is out of the way, the best bit of the evening is now, because you are about to hear one of the most fantastic things to come out of Japan, taiko drumming. Right, so if the earth didn't move for you, you have no soul, and the ants eat your heart out. So there is a manga exhibition opposite, there is sake tasting over here, and there will be more drumming later. So ladies and gentlemen, if you think these people are truly fantastic, we'll have another round of applause because you are. Thank you. And they're not the only fantastic people tonight. I would like to say thank you very much to the people who made this happen, to Jen, to Imogen, to Holly, and to Hannah. Thank you.